I'm Tammy Bruce. Now tonight, Joe Biden remains on the defensive, remains defiant, and remains delusional amid a series of self-inflicted, egregious decisions that are leaving our nation less safe and putting America in retreat and on the decline. Biden and his administration have spent the last year promising us America was back.
America is back, ready to lead the world, not retreat from it.
American leadership and engagement matter. We're hearing this now from our friends. They're glad we're back.
I've made it known that America's back. I also wanted to put the world on notice. America is back. America is back.
Well, like a badly written movie. Instead, there is now a crisis in confidence in American leadership here and abroad, because the Biden agenda is now defined by deadly incompetence, delusional decision-making, and downright destructive dereliction. Just today, Joe Biden met with the president of Ukraine, whom the New York Times describes as, quote, unnerved by America's abrupt and chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, and that he is expected to raise questions about U.S. security commitments. The paper of record for the left also says, quote, it comes in the wake of an event that has caused numerous American allies to question the firmness of Washington's support. You could also say they're concerned about the firmness of Biden's grip in general. More on this later. The message being sent all over the world after the president's reckless Afghan exit is that the terrorists are emboldened and that America's adversaries are energized. For example, Biden yesterday had the audacity to claim the Afghan strategy was an extraordinary success. Even as U.S. troops are dead, Americans are still stranded, and the Taliban is in control. And ask yourself this, if it was such a success, then why is Biden at the same time contradicting himself and blaming everyone? If it all went so well, then why would there be anyone to blame? Because really, deep down, everyone knows, including the president's fiercest defenders, that the surrender to the Taliban has consequences far beyond Afghanistan. As a new piece in The Economist notes, quote, through willpower, patience, and cunning, a low-budget band of holy warriors has vanquished America and taken charge of a medium-sized country. To Muslims who yearn to expel infidels and overthrow secular states, it was evidence that God approves. The ripple effects could be felt far and wide. And those ripple effects will be felt far beyond Afghanistan and far beyond the region itself. And the worst part, we're learning more about how Joe Biden knew this was coming, but rushed for the exits anyway. As an explosive piece from Reuters reveals that in a July 23rd phone call with Afghan president, Biden urged the president to, quote, change perception of the war, whether it was true or not, essentially urging the Afghan leader to go along with the lie that everyone in Afghanistan was just fine, even when the facts were staring him right in the face. So ask yourself, how is that leadership? How is that transparent? And how is that honest? That shocking revelation does reveal the rotten core of Biden and the fools now running this country. The focus and obsession is on perception, not reality. They are connected only with how something looks on the news, not on the impact of their action and policies on real human beings. Jim Hansen and Sean Parnell join us to unpack this revelation and its overall influence around the world. But no wonder Joe Biden was irritated by the Gold Star families speaking truth directly to his face. That wasn't part of the narrative, you see. That wasn't part of the script. So as Joe retreats to fantasy and the White House basement, China, Iran, Russia, and even North Korea have all gotten the message. America herself is in retreat. KT McFarland joins us shortly to expand on this. Now, for example, we've learned this week that North Korea appears to be back at work on its nuclear arsenal. While Joe Biden may have tried to declare an end to the war in Afghanistan, we may just be in the beginning of a far more dangerous chapter in confronting global threats, all because Joe Biden wanted a September 11th photo op and ran away from reality. Of course, we could see this coming from a mile away. Joe Biden was never any sort of foreign policy expert. He was never the empathizer or the elder statesman that the media wanted you to believe that he was. He's weak, he's reckless, and he's been wrong over and over again. That is what is shocking so many people. And how could anyone really, though, be surprised? He spent the campaign hiding in his basement, refusing questions and delivering canned remarks. Joe Biden was never ready for this job, and it's not just in Afghanistan. Our borders are wide open, inflation is surging, small businesses are still struggling, and American credibility around the world clearly is cratering. If this is success, like Biden claims, then what the hell does failure look like? The impact of this feckless non-leadership, more concerned about pronouns than the actions of terrorists, inspires the menacing left here at home as well. The teachers union in Los Angeles, the boss there, says children lost nothing during the pandemic. They now know words like insurrection and coup, confirming for the unions that this has all been about indoctrination, not education. You won't want to miss Laura Trump and James Golden, both of whom have a few things to say about all of this. All of this is, in fact, they think maybe well-intentioned people making mistakes. Well, that's not true. This is full-fledged narcissism, gross negligence, and America-last defeatism. Again, where's the accountability? Where are the firings? Where are the apologies and resignations out of protest or even, God forbid, some shame? Two senior executives, though, at the FDA finally did have enough. They resigned after interference from the White House on the COVID booster shot issue, bypassing the FDA, impacting the vaccine rollout, and confidence in the process once again. Joe's decision-making has clearly become dangerous on every front for the USA. Dr. Makary and Joe Concha are here to discuss that. And now we've learned a White House official has complained to reporters that he or she was, quote, appalled and literally horrified, end quote, that Biden stranded Americans in Afghanistan. Well, welcome to the club, anonymous official. If this person had a spine, they should resign and speak publicly against the madness controlling this administration. Step up. If you're listening to this, or even if you're not, it'll get to you. Step up. All of Biden's failures were driven by petty politics, not sound governing principles. And what's the Biden team's response? To keep cozying up to the Taliban, keep gaslighting the public, keep making things up for better perception. All of our disasters and the catastrophic ripple effects here at home and abroad did not have to happen. This was a planning failure, an attitude failure, an empathy failure, a gravitas failure, a strategy failure in general, and a communications failure. And most of all, a Joe Biden failure, making our friends and allies terrified about the future and our enemies thrilled and inspired.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.